Hi, Ben Carpenter here. I'm going to talk to you about hiring an online personal trainer and the pros and cons of online training. This will not be specifically for my clients. You can watch this if you're looking at hiring a trainer other than myself, that's fine. This absolutely is not going to be a sales pitch video. This video is for people who are already considering hiring someone online but want to understand the shortfalls as well as the benefits of doing so. So if anything, this is for me to send people to who think they want to hire someone, but I want them to double check. So it's absolutely not going to be a sales pitch video. So, number one, if you're hiring an online trainer, there is a certain level of trust that someone can perform something with good technique. If I'm working with someone one-on-one, I can watch every rep, every set of a given workout. Whereas with online training, I cannot do that. So, for example, if I prescribe someone a squat, I need to be confident that they can squat. So I can watch a video on their technique, I can approve their technique, and I can prescribe them a squat. But if their form deteriorates towards the end of a workout, I need them to be able to understand that themselves, because I'm not going to be there to say your technique's gone to pot, we need to call that a day. So I need the client, I would need you, to know when your technique deteriorates enough that you have to stop the set. So with technique, although someone can watch a video, and I will do that, it's compulsory that I will be able to look at a squat and deadlift video before I prescribe someone any kind of routine. I have to be able to trust you that you know when your technique deteriorates. This brings on to a very important point, because there are a lot of trainers out there who don't look at videos, they don't look at techniques, and they prescribe cookie cutter programs. So for example, someone I know paid for a very well-known personal training online service, and one of their specific pieces of detail was that they had a bad knee injury, and they said any form of squat was excruciating. The first exercise in their leg program was a back squat. So this indicates that whoever was prescribing them the program just hadn't looked through the notes, hadn't looked through the history, hadn't taken it seriously, and quite probably had copied a program which they already had in their library and given it to the client. So you must be aware when you're hiring a personal trainer whether they're prescribing you a program from scratch or whether they're giving you a program that they've made already. If they're prescribing a program from scratch, as I would, it will be a more expensive service, because they're not copying something and pasting it to you. They're writing it from scratch. They're looking at your injury history, your flexibility, strength levels, goals, etc., etc. So it's a much more thorough process. Next, accountability. For most people in the gym, getting to the gym regularly is the majority of the battle. So you know how many people go to the gym for a couple of months, then they spend a few weeks out, then they go back to the gym, etc., etc. If you're someone who is not motivated to go to the gym on your own, online personal training, in my opinion, will be less beneficial than personal training in person, because there's less accountability. So in person, if I'm seeing you once per week, we go through a program, you know what you need to do in the sessions that you're on your own before I see you in a week's time. So there's a high level of emotional accountability that you're going to go to the gym and you're going to keep up the program, because when I see you next week, I'm going to look through your training log and see how it's gone. With online personal training, you don't have the same degree of that. So I can send you an email, I can have a Skype call, etc. But in terms of troubleshooting, it's much harder to troubleshoot someone online than it is in person. So if you are someone that struggles with motivation, I personally feel that personal training in one-on-one is better than hiring an online trainer. Next, having someone there to push you. 9 times out of 10, if not 10 out of 10, scrap that, 10 times out of 10 in the gym, everyone that I work with will say they've worked significantly harder during that session with me than they would if they were on their own. So there's good research to show that personal trainers will tend to select heavier loads for the participant than if they were training on their own. So supervised training does tend to make people work harder, and they tend to use heavier loads than if someone was just training without supervision. So I cannot do that. I cannot overlook the program. I'm not there whilst you're training. I'm not helping select the weights. So for example, if I tell you to do a set of 10 on squat, you're picking the weight. Whereas in person, if I see someone squatting and I think the weight's too light, I can put it up. So as an example, one of my one-to-one clients, before we started training, they were doing sets of dips, and they were doing dips, body weight, sets of 10. But body weight wasn't challenging for them, but for them they thought because they were hitting sets of 10 they were following their program. So when we started training, I was putting the weight up and up as they were getting stronger and stronger, and they get to the point where they're doing an extra 50 kilos around their waist for sets of 10. So they thought they were following the right program because they were doing the right numbers, but they weren't pushing themselves hard within that. So although they were following it, they weren't following it with as much enthusiasm as they could have. So the execution of an online program that's written for you, again, a certain level of trust is needed there. Because I have to assume that the person is pushing themselves hard. A workout could take you 40 minutes, or it could take you 2.5 hours because you're chatting to your friends in the gym. So although you've completed a program on paper, there are very different ways to complete that program, and it's very hard for me to accurately assess how hard someone's worked. Next point, safety if someone's working hard. So for example, if you're training on your own in a garage, is it safe for me to prescribe you a 1 rep max bench? Are you going to be able to fail that lift and still be safe? Do you have adequate equipment, that you've got spotter catchers or a rack, etc., for you to fail a bench press and still be safe? Or if you're training in a commercial gym, can you fail a 1 rep max bench press and still be safe? Will you have a spotter there? These are things that need to be considered. So if I'm training with someone one-on-one, we can get to the point where I'm helping them do assisted reps, forced reps, negatives, whatever. But these are techniques that I cannot give to someone with an online training program. So the actual safety of a program must be considered. So for example, if someone's squatting, is it safe for me to prescribe a 1 rep max squat if they don't have spotter catches if they fail? For some people, no. This again needs to be considered, i.e. what equipment you've got, if you're going to have a spotter there, if you're not going to have a spotter there, etc., etc. Okay, pros. To me, the big pro of online personal training is that you can hire anyone in the world at any given time. So you can hire the best coach you're aware of in America, even if you're in Australia. So I can work with clients in America or South Africa or whatever. This is the huge plus, because it allows you to hire the best trainer that your budget allows, etc., rather than being limited to who's in your geographical region. So I've worked in 4 gyms, and honestly, the average personal trainer is a poor standard. Even personal trainers in industry know how many poor personal trainers there are out there. It's like hiring a mechanic. You get a good one who does a good job and charges you a fair price, or you get one who's trying to make as much money for as little work as possible. So for me, online personal training is an amazing tool for you to get the best trainer. However, I think for you to get the most out of your money, you need to be already a self-motivated individual. I think you need to have a good enough exercise knowledge that you know when your technique is going to deteriorate. I think you have to be someone who already pushes themselves hard and has the motivation in the gym already on their own. I.e., if you're the type of person who trains in a very lazy fashion, I don't think online personal training is right for you. I think the best way to utilise online personal training is already, if you have a good knowledge base, you push yourself hard, you don't skip workouts, and you want someone to write you the best program possible and oversee your nutrition. If you're at that level, I think online personal training can be a really valuable tool. If you're someone who is unaware when you're lifting with bad technique, you skip workouts, you tend to be lazy in the gym, etc., I do not think that online training is the best tool for you, because I think it needs to fill a void which it cannot fill. I think you need someone there to watch your technique, to kick you up the arse, etc., etc. Whereas online training is the scientific implementation of a clever program and nutritional strategy. So it relies on you, the client, to be able to take advantage of those. If you skip workouts and if you're lazy in the gym, I don't think you can take advantage of those fully. So that's it. I hope you found it helpful. Please feel free to ask any questions. My Facebook page is facebook.com/Ben Carpenter Personal Training, and my Twitter and Instagram pages are BDC Carpenter. And thank you for watching. Bye.